Hi there, friends. This is Julie. It's a couple of moments early. I will be going live here, continuing in just a minute or so. But per the usual, I am just checking some settings and levels and so forth while you guys are starting to get connected. So if you are watching live, you should be able to see on your screen a red button that says live. And just in case there's any problems, I will post these recordings on my YouTube channel that you'll be able to watch after the fact as replays. So like I said, I'm just going to kind of slowly roll out, but in just a moment, we'll be starting our first topic. I am bringing 5 different topics to you today. And so at this top of the 12 o'clock hour, we are going to be talking about the basics of stamps. Now, this is going to be a great opportunity for those of you who are either new to crafting or a little bit new to stamping, as well as maybe some of you who have been stamping for quite a while. You still might pick up on something new, maybe a new tidbit or something that you weren't sure about before. So I'm here. I'm again just checking. I'm going to check my computer now and see if you can see the live button. And we will get started in just a moment. All right, I'm just going to kind of keep talking because I don't want you to think that I'm not here. It always takes a minute for everything to get set up. So I will be doing this segment at 12 o'clock. I will also be doing a segment at 12:30 and 1 o'clock, 1:30, and 2 o'clock, all different topics on basics. So if you are watching and you would like to leave a comment, you can do that. I am going to let you know that it's a little bit hard for me to do everything at once. I don't have a moderator working with me today to be viewing the comments or the questions. So in the event that you do ask a question and I don't see it and respond to it right away, I apologize. I will definitely go back afterwards and respond to all comments and questions and so forth. So I can see from my monitor that we are live indeed, and this is great. If you are already watching and you want to leave me a comment, that will be helpful. I want to make sure that you can hear me and that you can see what's going on right here. And then in about 20 seconds, I'm going to start the content. I do have some little notes right here, especially for some of those of you who might be brand new to what it is that I'm doing. I do have an online store, and so the site website is here. If after today or at any time you are excited and inspired and wish to order some products, you can simply go to my store. And when you get to the checkout, there will be a little box where you can input a host code. You have to type in the code. Here is the code currently. When this changes, I do post a new code all the time. You can always find it at my website, which is stampwithjuliebaum.com. So if this one won't work because by the time you place your order, it has expired, this one is going to expire at the end of June. So if you're watching this afterwards and it's after that, you can go to Stamp with Julie Baum and find a current host code. Also, I want to say that if you are free on Thursday evening at 5:30 Pacific time, I will be doing mystery stamping. For those of you who are already crafters, this is a great opportunity to use products that you already have, and you can stamp a mystery card along with us. If you're interested in that, you need to contact me. The best way to find those contact points is here at my website. And I will send you a Zoom link so that you can craft with us that evening. I'll also send you the clues that you'll need. So hi, Diane. I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad this is working for you. And I'm going to jump in right now to the first topic, our 12 o'clock topic, which is stamps. So we're talking about the basics of rubber stamps. And so I'm going to show you, first of all, a Stampin' Up! Stamp set that is photopolymer. So this here is the photopolymer stamp set that is called Circle Sayings. And it has 14 stamps in this set. And then when you look at a photopolymer stamp set, they are essentially clear. So they are entirely clear stamps. Let me pull one out of the case like this. You can see through them, which makes them quite easy to use because you aren't ever stamping blindly. We're going to talk about that in just a moment when we pull out some acrylic blocks. But these are photopolymer stamps. And when they arrive in the stamp case that they come in, they are basically ready to go. Each of the images is actually on a piece of like acetate paper, and it's tucked into the case. So you can quickly and very easily peel those off of the acetate paper, stick them inside the case. There is a little guide that's inside your case. And then that's a great place for your stamps. All right, so photopolymer are the clear stamps, and let's move on. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about photopolymer and cling stamps. So these are photopolymer. All right, then the other kind of stamp is a cling stamp. Now, what these look like are a little bit more perhaps what you would be accustomed to with that red rubber look of a rubber stamp. So cling stamps are designed to cling to the acrylic blocks, which we're going to talk about. But as you can see, the stamps themselves are not see-through. So typically with the cling stamps, the artists that have created these have kind of predetermined that these are stamps that you don't necessarily need to be able to see through in order to get positioned correctly. So again, keeping it super basic, we've got photopolymer and we have cling stamps. Now let's talk about the acrylic blocks, which work with both. So I've got just a variety here of acrylic blocks. There are a number of different sizes. I have only pulled a B, a C, and a D size block, but there are other sizes. And to put your stamps onto an acrylic block is quite simple. So let me show you with a cling stamp, like these clouds. I would just take this and lay it on my surface, and then take a block that is large enough to accommodate it. So I know it seems obvious, but you're not going to want to use this size block to hold your stamp because the stamp would be hanging off the edge. So you want a large enough block to accommodate the stamp, and then you simply press it down just for a moment, and there's an incredibly sticky, clingy surface on the stamps, and that is what enables it to cling to your block. Now, that clingy substance that is holding it on here is actually quite strong. And so you do want to take care when you're ready to remove this stamp from the block to kind of get an edge, get underneath it, and then pull it off. So you shouldn't have to force it off. I would never want you to rip any part of your stamp. And a newer stamp that has not been mounted on a block before can be quite sticky on there, and it's a little bit difficult to get off. So again, you just kind of want to break the suction on an edge, and then it will peel off. All right, so that is a cling stamp with your acrylic block. And then let's look at a photopolymer stamp. All right, so same process. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the case. I'm going to turn it so that the flat side of the stamp is up. This is the detailed side. This is flat and smooth. And I'm going to just let it rest for a second. I'm going to come back to that comment. And then you're going to likewise take your acrylic block and just press it down, and it will pick up that stamp. All right, now these are also removable in the same manner. You just kind of start it somewhere, and then you will be able to peel it off. Now, the reason that I said lay your stamp down and let it rest for a second, let me give you an example of that. All right, we have this, this stamp, which you can see because of the photopolymer, it is flexible. So if I was to pull this off of here and just stick it on there, you can see that it is not a very neat circle. It's a little warped. It's a little out of shape. So that's why I recommend that you pull your photopolymer stamp off of the case, lay it down and just let it rest for a second. That way, if it needs to regain its shape, it's able to do that. Then take it to your block. All right, so we've talked about the two kinds of stamps, the photopolymer and the cling. Kind of the characteristics of each, as well as how to put them on and remove them off of your acrylic blocks. So next, let's talk about cleaning your stamps. I'm going to put a different stamp on here as we discuss this. This, by the way, is a new stamp set for me that I've just started using and will be using quite a bit. It's super cute. It's called Circle Sayings. And it does come, if you choose, in a bundle with a coordinating punch. So I'm going to take the little cupcake stamp out of here, let it rest for a second, and pick that up. Now you can see this is a smaller stamp, so I could certainly use a smaller acrylic block like so, or like so. Now if you're brand new and you don't have a collection of acrylic blocks, I would suggest one of two things. You can look at the stamp set that you have purchased or are considering purchasing, and inside the catalog, it will give you a recommendation of the size blocks that will work well with those images. If you don't want to use the recommendation, or you're just kind of wanting to be a little bit more generic in choosing some of your tools, I would recommend starting with probably a C and a D block. Many, many, many stamp images will fit on one of these. As you can see, this cupcake will fit on here. You can also put an image on a larger block. Now you can't go down, like we said earlier, you can't size your block too small. It can't be smaller than the image, but you can definitely size up. So if you have a D block and a C block, maybe even one or two of each, you will get a lot of mileage out of your stamps because they will work nicely with many, many shapes of stamps, many, many sizes of stamps. Okay, so we're going to talk about cleaning. So let's start with photopolymer stamps since I have one on here. Now, there are two tools that are Stampin' Up! Items that you can use to clean your stamps. But before we do that, because today we're talking about basics and you might be brand new, you can clean your stamps with a damp rag. So seriously, you can get just an old washcloth or an old kitchen cloth, get it wet with plain water, wring it out and lay it in a little plastic pan or a little dish, and you can use that to clean the ink off of your stamps. Another thing that I know is a common way to clean your stamps that is not one that I prefer, but baby wipes that are alcohol free will also clean the ink off of your stamps. The reason I don't prefer baby wipes is because then the baby wipe has ink on it and it tends to transfer to your hands. And so a lot of other things end up inky, even though it did maybe do a good job taking the ink off of your stamp. All right, so besides just plain water and an old rag, you can also invest in some Stampin' Mist, which is actually a cleaner for rubber stamps. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because Stampin' Mist is not recommended on your photopolymer stamps. So even if you have Stampin' Mist or want to get some Stampin' Mist to clean some really stubbornly dirty stamps, it is not recommended that you clean your photopolymer stamps with Stampin' Mist. You want to use plain water. So my favorite way to clean my photopolymer stamps is with a Simply chamois. Now I'm going to show you. This is how a chamois looks. Well, this one's already starting to get a little discolored. When you first get it, it's kind of this pinky lilac color. and it's very stiff, like a piece of cardboard. So you run this under water and then you wring it out, and now your chamois is ready to use. Now this side is kind of cleaner because I haven't really started using that side as a cleaner. This is a well-loved side. I have mine in an empty stamp case, which you can purchase empty stamp cases from the Stampin' Up! Catalog if you don't have any spare ones. I keep this in here. And then when I have ink on a stamp, which I'm just going to go ahead and go through the steps. So here is a Daffodil Delight ink pad. So if I had just stamped something, now there's some yellow ink on here and I need to clean my stamp, I can just scrub it, press and rub onto my Simply Chamois, and my photopolymer stamp is clean. All right. I love the chamois. After you've used it several times, I mean like several stamping segments, you know, not just like one card or two cards, then you can rinse this out underwater, squeeze it out, and use it again. If you do keep it in a stamp case like this, it kind of keeps it from drying out in between. So like I'll shut this. It usually sits right here at my stamping area, and then I'll just pop it open, clean a stamp, and shut it, because they do tend to dry out rather quickly. All right, another option is called a Stampin' Scrub. This has been around actually for a long time, and a Stampin' Scrub has two sides. These little parts actually pop out of the case. Let's see if I can get it to do it. I would usually pop something under there so that I don't break a nail. All right, I would usually take like a butter knife or something and pop this out. I'm not going to do it right now here on camera, but what it's designed for is you get one side wet with your plain water and or Stampin' Mist, and you leave the other side dry. So once you have that stamp that has ink on it, then you scrub it on the wet side, dry it off, and then you're ready to move on. So preferences. If you are cleaning your photopolymer, your cling stamps, if you're cleaning your cling stamps, this is a great way to go. Water, dry. It's okay to use Stampin' Mist on your cling stamps. That's totally fine. So if these are really stubbornly dirty, sometimes the Stampin' Mist is helpful. Scrub and dry, or you can use the Simply Chamois, which is what I do for all of my cleaning. So this could be the one-stop tool that you need. So I can clean my cling stamps. I can clean my photopolymer stamps. Again, the only warning is if you're going to use Stampin' Mist, do not use it on your photopolymer. All right, so that is the basics of cleaning your stamps. Now let's just touch on storing your stamps. All right, so in my photopolymer stamps, as I mentioned, there are little printed guides inside the case, which makes it quite easy to just put your stamps in place and store them that way. I store all of my stamp sets in the little case that they come in. These actually stack quite nicely if you want them stacked on a shelf, or this way, like the spines of a book. That works well as well. So your photopolymer ones will just line up with the images on the guide. Now on your cling stamp sets, you have a couple of options. Some choose to not use this little backing sheet that they come in and just store their stamps in the case, which is completely fine. Okay, that is a great way to do it. The reason that I use the little backing piece and I store it inside here is so that at a glance, I can always see if a stamp from this set is missing. So if I have been stamping myself and pulled out lots of different stamp sets, or if I've been teaching a class or a workshop and I'm ready to put this stamp set away, I see it like a puzzle and I realize that a piece is missing and I go look for that stamp right away. So I like to keep this little backing sheet that your stamps come in inside the case, and that way I am always sure at a glance that all the stamps that belong in there have been placed back in their home. So that is how I choose to do it. Now, the thing I'm not going to touch on right now has to do with applying your labels to your cling stamps. What I mean by that is when you get a brand new set of cling stamps, there will be a sheet inside this case that has all of the stickers or the labels, and the stamps themselves do not have them attached. So you take a couple of moments when you get a new stamp set to attach those labels, and I have videos on my YouTube channel of how to do that. So I'm not going to share with the steps with you on that, but you can definitely go to my YouTube channel, Stamp with Julie Baum, and just put in the search field labeling your stamps, and it will pop up. So you'll be able to do that. All right, so that is the basics of our Stampin' Up! Stamps. The cling, the photopolymer, acrylic blocks, how to mount and remove the stamps from those blocks, cleaning your stamps, and storing them. That is the end of our first session. I am going to sign off, and I will be coming back at 12:30 with our next topic, which is papers. At 12:30, we're going to be talking about papers. So I hope that you're able to take a break and then come back here to my live stream at 12:30. Thanks so much for watching.